Hey, hello everyone. Good morning, guys. So, welcome all of you for our Talent Tech Solution ETL demo. So, this is going to be our 29th batch. Okay. So, let's get started. Let's try to first understand like what is ETL, what happens in ETL, why do we need an ETL, right? So, to do all of that, let's go with few questions. I hope everyone is able to see our screen. Can we get a confirmation quickly? Are you able to see our screen, guys?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Okay, guys. So let's start with few just casual questions. Okay, you might have seen these things, but let's just see if you know what is the reason behind that. Okay. So let's say when you go to Amazon and Flipkart, right? You try to buy a mobile phone, right? So when you try to buy a mobile phone, you put in your mobile phone ID and all, and if you scroll down, right, it will give you a suggestion to buy a cover, right, or a screen guard. Have you guys seen that? Come on, guys. You can unmute, say yes, no, no problem in that. Let's keep it open conversation.
Yes,
Have you
Sanjay.
seen, guys? They suggest you products, right? Let's say if you go and buy a kid's diaper, right? They will try to show you milk powder or wet wipes and those kind of things. Have you seen that, guys? The suggestions that they make?
Yes.
Yeah. So anyone any idea like how do they do it? I mean, how do they know that, okay, if someone buys a phone, he will buy a cover also and he will buy a screen guard also? Any idea, guys? How do they know that? Come on, guys, nothing is right, wrong here. Let's try to answer. Let's see if we can understand that piece.
No idea, Sanjay.
Okay. Okay, no problem. So, okay, let's go to the next question, guys. Then. Right. So, what do you think? Let's say a medium-sized business, right? Let's say D-Mart or a Big Bazaar. Like, what do you think? How many transactions would happen on a daily basis there? Any random number, guys. What do you think? 10,000, 1 lakh, 1 crore, 2 crores. What do you think, guys?
I think it will be in
It will be in lakhs.
Okay. Now, okay, it will be in lakhs, but then how do you save all of those transactions? Right? We are saying every day 1 lakh transaction. So where are you going to save that, guys? Any idea on that?
in
Cloud.
data.
Cloud.
Okay. Cloud database. Both are correct answers. Yes. Okay. Good that you at least know like what is a database. Okay. So now, which, sorry. Okay. So now let's try to understand this whole process, right, with an example. Okay. Let's go to the example. So what we have here is basically, right? So here if we see, we are just considering, okay? This is just an assumption. These are not real figures. We are kind of trying to understand like how much happens and what happens, okay? So let's take an example of a firm called Weimart, okay? So we are considering this firm called Weimart, okay? Now in this firm Weimart, so across India, okay, within India, we have right now 29 states, okay? So what we are considering, so within these 29 states, right, we are considering in each of the state, right? Let's say a state is a big thing, right? Let's say in complete Telangana, right? We are considering there are around 40 shops, okay? Because these guys, right? These Bmart, Weimart, right? Big Bazaar, Reliance Mart, whatever it might be, right? They have shops at particular proper locations, and within a city also they might have 2, 3 shops, right? It depends. So we are considering on an average they have 40, okay? Within a state, guys, okay? State is a very big identity, and we are just considering 40 on an average, okay? So if you do that, there are total 1160 shops across India, okay? Now, within these shops, what we are considering on an average, at least 500 people come daily. Okay. We are considering 500, which is very less, right? You might know that 500 people you might see in a big bazaar when you go there, right? Or in a D-Mart. People are like crazy and then they go there every day, right? On Saturdays and Sundays, it's even too much, right? So let's assume like on an average, including all the weekdays, 500 people on an average, they come to the Weimart shop. Okay. So now if we take 1160 shops into 500, so we get to a number of 5,80,000. Okay. Right. So this is the figure now. These many people are coming to the shop. Now let's assume each person is buying 10 products on an average, right? Some will buy, let's say 20 products, some will buy only 5 products, right? Whatever it might be. But we are considering an average that, okay, every day, all these 500 people, they come to the shop, they are going to buy at least 10 products. Okay. These guys are the minimum things that we are considering. It is always going to be for sure more. Okay. So if I consider this amount also, right, within a day, I'm going to see 58 lakh transactions that's happening within a day. Okay, across all the shops within a day, 58 lakh transactions are going to happen. Right now, if I consider that for a year, it is going to be 211 crores. Right, I'm daily transactions I'm multiplying by 365 days. Right, so I am going to now get 211 crore data. Right, this is my data yearly if I consider the minimum volume. Right, if I go for the higher number, right, let's say around 1,000 people coming in, then this number is going to be a bit more huge. Right, so this type of number of records, right, you actually cannot keep it in an Excel or a notepad. I mean, it becomes very difficult to maintain. Right, and then you want to store this data so that in future you can use this data also, right, for informations, right, which product, which people are buying together, right, you can get some insights out of it. Right, so these things, right, these things are something that make us to put the data into a data warehouse or a database structure. Okay, so I'll explain you all of that. Now let's come to the next slide where we see that, okay, with all of this data, right, what does the business CEO wants? So let's say we have the CEO, right, the business that we talked about, right, she is the CEO of that business. Okay, now she wants to know, okay, which product is selling the best, right, what are my daily sales? Okay, these are her questions. Now let's say you run the business, right, and you want to know these answers. So how are you going to know? Right, you have 58 lakh records per day, right, and then you need to understand like how, what is the best selling product, like how much is my daily sales. So it becomes difficult to go through all the 58 lakh records and then give some output, right, and that too on daily basis. Right, she can ask about the history data also. So then what are you going to do? So basically what these CEOs do, right, what they do is they go to these MNCs. Okay, MNCs are nothing but the multinational companies. They go to these multinational companies and ask for help. That, okay, go ahead, please help me in creating reports, right, sales reports or any type of report for my business. Right, so what these consulting firms, right, these are all consulting firms, guys, everyone, all of these here, right, these are nothing but consulting firms. You might have heard most of their names. So Tata, TCS, right, Infosys, PwC, Cognizant, Deloitte, KPMG, EY, Accenture, HCL, Capgemini. So see, all these are nothing but the MNC companies. They are multinational companies. What they do is basically they are into the consulting business. So consulting business is nothing but, just a second, guys, my bad. Yeah, so they are into consulting business, right? What they do is they help these CEOs or business people to get whatever they want, right? So let's say this business CEO wants to know that, okay, what are my daily sales, right, which is my best selling product and all of that. So what they do is they go to these MNCs and they do a bidding, right? After the bidding, that, let's say someone will say that, okay, uh, let's say TCS will say that, okay, we will do it in $2 million, right, we will do this task in $2 million within 2 months. Okay, and then someone will say, let's say Accenture will say we will do it in $1 million, right, but we will take 3 months to do it. So now this business CEO will decide, okay, fine, I have this much money, I can pay them that much, right, I have this much budget, and then they will choose, okay, which one to should I give the contract to, right? So that all happens, and then you decide like who should get the contract. Okay, so now let's say that happened, and then there is some firm called ABC, they win the contract. Okay, so there is a firm called ABC, they won the contract, right? So now this ABC company will do what? They will go to the CEO, right, and start asking the questions, right? So the questions would be, okay, like how should I help you, or how should we help you? What can be done? What cannot be done, right? So all of that is going to happen, right? So this ABC company, right, they will assign a team lead, right? So that team lead will start analyzing the things. They will talk to the CEO and the team of the CEO, right? And they will try to understand the business first. So what the business is doing. And then the next step that they need is, right, they have to first understand the business, and the second is going to be get all the company data in one place, right? Because if you don't have all the data in one place, like the example I gave you, right? We have 40 states within India itself, right? And in each state, sorry, we have 29 states, and within that we have 40 shops, right? Within each state. So you will have to get all of that data together first. If you have data for one shop at one place and another shop in another place, right? Then it becomes difficult, right? So you will have to get all the data together in one place, right? And that one place, right, is nothing but a data warehouse. Okay. So this is what we are going to focus on more, right? I wanted you all to understand like what we are going to do and why we are going to do. That's why this whole explanation, right? Right? The ETL developer, the talent, the tool that we are going to learn, right? That is going to do what? That is going to kind of create a data warehouse. Okay. It is going to bring all the data in one place. So whatever explanation I gave, this is true for any business for that matter, right? I'll go to those slides where I'm going to show you the businesses where we actually are going to help, right? So now to get all of this data in one place, we need a professional who can do extract the data from the source. Extracting means getting the data from the source, right? Transform it. Transform means change it based on the business need, right? Right now, the business wants to know only the sales, right? So we will take only the sales portion of it and then try to do something on top of it and give the reports, right? And then finally load all of the data into a data warehouse so that we have everything in one place, right? So that's the final process. So this extract, transform, and load, that is nothing but an ETL, okay? And to do this ETL, we need an ETL developer, okay? So once you learn this talent tool, right? Once you learn the SQL, once you learn the data warehousing, right? Once you learn all these three, then what you can become is you can become an ETL developer, right? So that is why we are here and we are trying to learn this ETL as a tool. Everyone clear till here? Anyone, any questions till here? Anyone, any questions, guys?
No.
Are you understanding what is an ETL developer and what he does actually for the business? Okay. Cool then. So the businesses, right? The examples that I was going to give you. So there are many businesses. This one business that I gave you was for a retail, right? So that you understand. So retail is nothing but that, okay, the shops, right? We go and we try to buy and sell things there. So that is nothing but a retail. But the same thing can be done for healthcare also. Like all the doctors, all the hospitals, let's say all the insurance policies, right? Everything. All of that needs data, right? If you go to a doctor nowadays, right, what they do is they do an entry into their machine, into their system also, not just in files, right? In old days, we used to just do entry in the files. Nowadays, they are also going digital, right? They keep track, they keep maintain of your records, right? So everything in healthcare also. Banking is a prime example of ETL things, right? You make a transaction, you see your data right away, right? What is your balance left in your account, right? Nowadays, UPI you do. UPI is super fast, right? So there are super fast servers, there are databases, right? Each UPI is linked to one particular account, right? So all those things needs to be maintained, right? So that's there in the banking system. The ATM withdrawal that you do, right? So everything is nothing but in the end connected to a database or a data warehouse, right? So let's say if you go to an ATM, first while reading the scanning the chip, right, it should connect to your bank account, right? That's the first thing. Then your bank account will give the information like how much amount you have in the bank account, right? And then only you can get the money, right? So all of these answers needs to be given first. right? Like what is your bank account number, right? Then it will go and connect to that bank account after you enter the PIN, right? And then it will see how much amount you have and then it can give you something, right? So all of that is there for banking. And retail we already discussed, right? We did this discussion of DMart and Bimart, right? So they do the same thing, right? Every day their transactions are stored and then based on that only they understand and decide. These Amazons and Flipkarts, they give you the suggestion based on your past orders or people around how they are buying things, right? Like I said, if someone is buying a phone, they most probably are going to buy a cover and a screen guard also along with it, right? So all those are nothing but the examples of the businesses where the ETL is being used, right? Okay. So let's move on. Now let's understand exactly what is ETL with this architecture diagram, right? So let's say as I gave you the example, right? So there is one shop in some location, right? So that location, that data is this, okay? It has a database. Then there is a shop in another location. So that is this database. And there is somewhere where there's a small shop, right? But they keep their things in files, right? They don't have a database. So what you have to do finally is you have to get all of this together, transform it here, right? Here, this is the place where you're going to convert everything into what you need basically at the end, right? You are going to see, let's say this is in Hindi, right? This data, let's say if it is in Hindi or it has 40 columns, right? This data might be in English or some another language, right? And it might have 200 columns, right? So what you have to do is you have to take all of this data together, right? Transform it in such a way that, okay, everything looks as per what business needs it. And then finally, you're going to load everything into this data warehouse, right? So this will now be able to give all your question answers, right? All the answers are here, right? All the answers that you're looking for are here. Okay, everything, every question that you want to ask, all the answers will be here. Okay, guys. And then on top of it, we are going to have Tableau team or Power BI team or reporting team for that matter. They are going to create reports, and these reports, right, will be now given to business, and they will do things. Okay, and then there are data mining activities nowadays. Big data is there, data science is there, right? So what they do is they do data mining. They try to understand, like, okay, what best features can I get out of my data, right? What can my data answer me, which I don't know right now, right? So all those kind of things, all those marketing tricks and everything, you can try and do from there. Okay. Okay. So anyone, any questions still here?
No, it's clear.
No. Okay. So this ETL extract transform load, this process is done by Talend. Okay. So Talend is ETL tool, right? So before moving on to exactly what Talend is, right? I mean, to sustain in the industry, right? Let's say, so as we gave the example, right? So we are going to have 210 crore records, right? You have to store that into a data warehouse or a database, right? You have to store that data into database, but when you properly store it in a structured way, right? That process is known as data warehousing. Okay, that is something that you need to know, right? And then you need a knowledge of an ETL tool, which is going to actually help you to extract, transform, and then load your data into the data warehouse. Now, once the data is stored into the database and the data warehouse, right, you would need SQL language also to get the results out of that database, right? If you want to do some reporting, if you want to give the answer to the CEO, right, what is my best selling product, right? What are my total sales? Which location is doing how much, right? If you want to get all of that answer, you in the end will have to run SQL. Okay, all those front end tools, right? Power BI, Tableau, SAP BO, anything for that matter, right? They are going to in the end run SQL only. Okay, they are going to connect to the database using a SQL query, and then from there they are going to give you the information. Okay, so this is very important. So nowadays, right, just knowing one ETL tool is not enough, guys. You need to know the data warehousing also. You need to know the SQL also. If you know all of these three things, then yes, you can sustain in the industry. No problem, right? Then ETL tool also does not matter, right? Today it is Talent, tomorrow it will be Informatica, then after that it would be something else, Azure, Glue, whatever it might be. Okay, so you just need to know one ETL tool to begin with, Once you know that, right, the concepts in all the other ETL tools are kind of similar. Okay. Same way, you should know one database where you are going to run a SQL query. And then there are many databases. You can learn them within 5 days. Okay. It's not even more than that. Anyways, Google is there. So Google will help you answer everything. Right. So it becomes very easy. Okay. So now let's try to understand, right? So this again, right? The example that I showed you. So you need to learn Talend, you need to learn SQL, and you need to learn data warehouse. And once you know all of these three things, right? Then you can become a proper ETL developer. Okay, that's when you can call yourself a ETL developer. If you just know Talend, that's not enough, guys. If you just know SQL, that is also not enough, right? You need all of these three. Okay, one thing is not enough, right? So we are trying to clear that out at the beginning itself so that you focus on all these points. Okay. So now, guys, why do we teach only Talend, right? As I told you, there are many ETL tools out there, right? The biggest competitor right now or has been there is Informatica. This is the oldest. This was even there when Talend was not there, right? Then Pentaho again is one of the tool, which is again a Java-based tool. So this again has good market base. Then SQL Server is there, right? This again is a good competitor. And then you have Oracle stuff, you have Essential stuff, right? So there are many other ETL tools. But why do we take only Talend and why Talend basically, right? So the first and foremost point is you can learn Talend without coding background. Right, guys? So this is something that is very, very important to understand and very, very important to know that you don't need any coding background. Okay. You don't need to be knowing Java. You don't need to be knowing Python, C++, nothing. Okay. Whatever is needed, we will teach you and it is going to be very, very minimal. Okay. That's the first and most advantage of learning Talend, right? So that's the one thing. Second is Talend offer both open source, which is nothing but a free version, and enterprise, which is nothing but the paid version, right? It offers both the options. You have the free version also, which is the open source version, which we are going to use. And then you have the enterprise version also, which is like the paid version. Okay. So many organizations, they have kind of both. They keep open source also. Many organizations, medium-sized businesses, right? They can work with open source also because open source also provides maximum of the features, right? Around like 80% of the features that are there out of Talend, right? They are present in open source. The rest 20%, right, which can help business enhance things, they are there in enterprise. Okay, so we are going to learn this open source version, right, which is free. You don't have to pay 1 rupees also for this. Okay, this is a completely free tool. Okay, so that's the second point, that why we are learning Talend only, because if you go ahead and try to buy Informatica, right, it is going to be super costly and there is no free version for that. Okay, but here you have free version and that too for lifetime. Okay, it's not like you have 15 days free version or 13 days free version. Okay, it is free for life. That's this another advantage. Okay, now even if you go cost comparison wise, right? So if you go cost comparison wise, so Talend is going to take per user around, let's say, $1,000. Okay, and if you compare Informatica, it is going to be $2,000, right? So Talend is very cheap. That's why businesses are trying to go to Talend also. The power of Talend is huge, right? They have many tools out there now in the market, right? Not just ETL tool. They have many other tools also. Okay, and that too at a very low cost. Okay, so that's again an advantage. It is very cost efficient and it is super easy to use. I'm going to show you in some time like how friendly the graphical user interface is. You will also understand that, okay, it's just simple fill in the blanks. Okay, if you give correct fill in the blanks, you will get the correct output. That's it. Okay, now Talend is future proof. Why it is future proof? Because it is built on Java, right? So once I create the job, right, and if I build it, then I don't even need Talend to run it. Okay, if there is no Talend on my machine also, right, then also I can run my jobs. Okay, it's that platform independent. You just need Java on your machine. That's it. If you have Java on your machine, that again is Java is nothing but, yeah, like you install it as an application. Okay, that's it. You don't have to go ahead and do anything. You just have to double click on the application and it will run it. Okay, so that's the quick advantage of this, right? And then Talent keeps on providing additional jars, right? Let's say something new comes to the business. So they gives you the additional jar for that new thing, and you will be able to connect to it. Okay. So it becomes very, very efficient, right? And it's super easy to connect to any form of source, right? Any database that is there in the market, right? Talent will be able to connect to it. Okay. So Talend is scalable, right? Why it is scalable? Because Talend again runs on Java, right? So as soon as you update the Java, the Talend will also kind of get updated. You don't have to worry about it. Okay. So it will help you to stay updated with the business, right? And Talend is a very supportive community. At the end of the demo, right, they will show you the Talend community page, right? For first 4 to 7 years, right, of your career, right, you will be able to get all your answers, whatever might be your question, right? You will find an answer on this Talend community. All you need to do is just go to Google and just type your question. Once you type your question, right, you will get the answer. Someone would have solved it, someone would have given the exact explanation with the diagram, right? It would be there on the Talend community. It's super, super helpful. Like nowadays also, right? If I face any issues, if I don't know the answer of something, or if I'm getting stuck somewhere, I also go to this Talend community page. Okay, so all the issues are kind of fixed by very, very professional people. Okay, now this thing, right, data integration, the ETL tool that we are going to learn, that is only one thing that Talend is offering. So Talend is offering master data management, big data management, API support. There are many, many things which Talend gives. Okay, so it's not just the data integration that we are going to have in Talend, right? So right now you're going to learn only data integration from us. But yeah, if you need in future, there are many other Talend tools also that you can learn, like master data management, big data management, and stuff like that. Okay, so these are all the advantages, like why we are trying to go ahead and learn Talend. Anyone, any questions still here? Any questions, guys? Nope. Okay. So let me quickly come and open my Talend. Just give me 1 minute. Just a second, guys. Let me share this stuff. Yeah. Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So guys, see, this is how your Talend screen looks like. Okay. So since this is just a demo, guys, right? So I'm going to quickly show you a job, which I will create right in front of you. But yeah, I mean, when we start, right, I'll explain you what is this, what is this, what is this, everything. Okay. So in Talend, right, how easy it is to create a job, right? Let's say if I go to this demo folder, right, I'll just create a new job, right? I'll just say demo 29. Okay. Then you fill some purpose, you fill some description, whatever you want to do as best practices, you can fill that and then just click on finish. Okay. So once you click on finish, a Talend new job will be created for you. So I created it in the demo folder, right? You can keep things in your proper folder structure also inside Talend, right? And then it will create a job for you. So once the job is created, right, you will see that all the other windows which were basically white, right, earlier, they have started to come into picture, right? So this here, what we have on the right hand side is nothing but the palette. So this palette has all the components that we would need to use. So as I told you, right, Talend is nothing but a fill in the blanks tool. Okay, you can just remember that. So fill in the blanks. What by that what I mean, right? All you need to do is just like in your school days, right? You used to fill in the blanks. That's what kind of things that you have to do here. Okay, so let's take an example of this file. Okay, so I have this data right now. Okay, I'm doing a very traditional type of ETL, right? You might be feeling that Excel is very traditional, but Excel is not, right? Excel has some limitations that it cannot go beyond that number of data, right? But a normal text file or a CSV file, right? It can go to millions of records also, right? So this is the traditional form of data that you are going to kind of receive, right? So let's say this is the file, and now I want to read this data from the file. Okay, so basically I want to load this somewhere, right, with some filters or with some conditions applied to it. Okay, so let's say this is my data. Now how to read this data into Talend, right? So this is nothing but a file, right? So this file, if you see, so this is the first name, last name, department, salary, right? This is the header. Okay, we call this as the header, right? And now if you see, the data is Ajay, Kumar, service, and then whatever, right? The salary here. So if you see, right, everything here is separated by this. Okay, this is nothing but a pipe. Okay, this is called a pipe sign, right? Like you have a semicolon. Let's say if I just do this, right? So if I replace all the pipe with, let's say, semicolon, right? This is called semicolon. So if I replace all, right? So this file now becomes a semicolon delimited file, guys. Okay, so this separation, right, between one column to another column, okay, this is nothing but called a delimiter. Okay, guys, or a separator or a delimiter. It is called a separator or a delimiter, right? So this file right now, it's called semicolon separated file, okay, or a delimited file. Now if I again change it to, let's say, if I change it from semicolon again to a pipe, right, whatever I want I can give here, right? Any delimiter is fine. Like this also I can give, any delimiter you can give. Okay, no problem with that, but it should be same across your file. Okay, so let's use some standard ones. So semicolon and pipe, these are some standard delimiters. Okay, so let's choose this pipe delimiter here. Okay, so now this is my file. This file is stored in C Talend input. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to come to my Talend and try to read that file. So since this is a file, right, I'll go to my file section. What I want to do, I want to do an input, right? So I'll go to input. Okay, and as I explained you, right, this is nothing but a delimited file. So I'll just drag this component and put it here. That's it. Okay, guys. So you will see, right, you are not going to do any coding at all, guys. That's the beauty of this. So no coding at all. So now if you click on this and come to this component section, right, here you will see all the options. So as I'm telling you, right, you are going to fill in the blanks. So first what you are going to give, you are going to give the file name, right? So file name, how I'm going to give, I'm going to just click on this. I'll browse my file. Right, so if I come here, this is my file actually, which I changed at 9/6 today. Okay, so I'll just click on this and I'll say open. Okay, that's it. So you have filled in this blank. Okay, now row separator is what? Row separator means from this row to this row, right? This is first row, this is second row. From this row to this row, how did you come? You might have put an enter key, right? Then only you will go down, right? So this enter key in Talend language or in Java language is nothing but /n. Okay, /n is next line character, new line character, or whatever you want to call it, right? That is that. Okay, so that is nothing but your row separator. Now what is your field separator? So in our case, right, by default it gives you semicolon, but our file is pipe separated, right? So all I need to do is just give here pipe, remove that and give pipe, because in my file, right, everything is separated by a pipe. Clear everyone till here? Anyone any doubt till here?
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
Clear?
clear, Talend.
Okay, so now this is done, right? So once this is done, after that, right, here the next option is you have to tell what is the header. So do you have header in the file? Yes, I have header in the file, right? This is the header, not the data. The data is this. Okay, this is just the header. So you have to tell, yes, the header is present in the file and first row is header. So what you have to give here, you have to give the number as 1. Right now, I don't have any footer in the file and I don't want to limit my data also, right? Limiting means, let's say I want only 2 rows, right? So I'll put the limit as 2. So it will give me only 2 rows, even if my file has million rows. Okay, that's the limit thing. But right now I don't have any footer in the file, right? It's just a normal plain file. Okay, so I have given that option as well. Now, only thing that is left is, right, how many columns are there, right? That is the only thing that I need to tell now to Talend. Okay, so how I'm going to do that? There is an option called schema. Okay, so here, right, if you see, the column option is there. What I can do is I can plus as many columns I have. So how many columns I have? First is first name. Okay, so I'll give that. Second is last name. I'll give that. Then you have department. Then you have salary. Okay, so I've given all the columns, right? Now, along with the column names, right, as I told you, everything is going to be structured, right? In Talend, in a database, right, you cannot keep anything anywhere. You have to properly define what is what, and then only you can keep it. Okay, so first name is string, last name is also string, department is also string, that is fine. But salary is not string, right? It is a number, correct? It is a decimal number. Yes or no, guys? You can see, right, there are decimal points here. Yes, so the decimal numbers in Talend, they are flown into, let's say, float or double. Okay, you can remember it like double. And there is big decimal also. Big decimal is for like huge numbers, right? But right now you can understand like D for decimal, D for double. We can keep that. Okay, so that's it. So now if I do this right, the input side is done. Okay, so the input side is done. But if you see right, it is still giving me an error. What it is saying, since this is an input component, right? The component should have an output link also, right? Because the input, what it will do, it will just read the data. How will it show me, right? Somewhere. So if I want to see this data, I need an output also, right? So what I can do right now, just for this demo purpose, I can take a component called tlog row. What it does, right? It logs the value in the output directly here, right? In this run console, when I run the job, right, it will give me the output here itself. So what I can do simply is just connect this with this, right? That's it. Okay. Here I'll just go ahead and do sync columns. Here I've used the table view. So now if I run this job, right, what it is going to do, it is going to take the data from my file and give me the number of rows that are present here and print the output here on the console. Okay. So that's it. So till now, did you guys do any coding at all, guys? Here, any coding for that matter?
Okay.
No, right? And see, your file data is here. Just a second, guys. This debug sometimes creates a problem. Just give me a quick second. I'll reset it. Yeah. Okay. So if you see your output, here is your output. So this was your data, right? See, it is giving you in a proper format, right? So your first name was Ajay, then Kumar, what is was his service, and then the salary, right? This was your data here. So this is just a small set data that I'm showing you. You can create a huge set of data also. Now this I'm just showing you on the talent screen, right? Let's say I want to apply some filters also, right? I want to take only the data where the salary is, let's say, greater than 5,000, let's say, for example. So I'll get two records in the output. Okay. So what you can do, you want to apply some processing logic, right? You want to do some processing. So you can take this filter row component. You have component for each and everything, guys. Okay. So this filter row you can drag and keep it in between here. So it will get connected, right? You can come here and you can choose what you want to do. So now let's say I want to do on salary, right? No coding, guys. Here also you will see no coding. Function, nothing. Operator, since this is a numeric, right? There is no function here. So operator, what I want greater than. And what value greater than? Let's say I say 5,000, right? So 5,000. That's it. Now, if I come here and run the job again, it will apply that filter for my data, right? From here, you will get some rows. See, 5 rows came from here, right, guys? Let me just zoom in a bit so that you see it very clearly, right? If you see, right, 5 rows came from here, only two passed, right? Because only two satisfied our condition. What was our condition? It should be greater than 5,000. Now, let's say if I want the reject also, what I can do, I can take another T log row, right? Here I can take the reject as well. The reject taking option is also there. So these are the ones which satisfied my condition, they go to filter. These are the ones which don't satisfy my condition, they go to reject. So if I now run my job, right, it will show me the past results also, the failed results also. See, two results here and basically three results here, right? And it will show me the reason also. Okay, 1 second. I have not clicked into the table view, guys. That's why it's showing you weirdly. Let me just do the table view and run the job again. Yeah. So if you see, right? So these are the correct records which went there, and it showed that these are the failed records which did not pass. And if you see, right, it is giving me the reason that it tried to compare the salary with 5,000 and it was less than 5,000. That's why it failed, right? See, these salaries were not 5,000 or more. So this way, guys, I mean, this was just one example. Talent is super easy. You don't have to write any code at all. If you see, right, there is a code in the backend that Talent automatically writes for you. If you see, right, this is the piece of code that Talent has written in the backend for doing this task. Okay, but you don't have to worry about it. You cannot even edit it if you want to, right? You cannot edit this. You cannot do any backspace or anything here. Okay, nothing is possible. This is done automatically by Talent. All you need to do is just fill in the blanks here. Just take this, drag this, drop it, whatever. Okay, guys. Everyone clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Anyone, any questions here? No? So I believe now you understand what is ETL first, right? So here also, guys, if I show you, right, this piece of reading the data, that was nothing but extraction. You extracted the data from the file, right? T was nothing but the transformation. So transformation, what you did do? You did a filter here. That was nothing but your transformation in this case. And then load. So right now you did not load it into any file or anything. You just showed it on the Talend. But yeah, these two were actually kind of loading your data somewhere, right? So you did that operation of E, T, and L. Getting it, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So now with this, right, the demo for Talend and stuff is over. Now, what are we going to offer? I would like Sanjay to go ahead and continue on that.